So if you're experiencing hesitation issues in your van, kind of feels like that the van is like cutting off or depowering and then it powers right back up, there's a good chance that it's your EGR valve. If you want to see how to clean it, stick around for the video. So your EGR valve is located right here. So it's pretty simple. There's a coolant line coming in and a coolant line coming out. Some people say that you have to take these off. I disagree. There are 4 bolts. One's here, one's on the other side of that housing, and then there's one right back there and one right back there. My name is Dan from Reinstalling Ambition. This is our 2019 Sprinter van, and we are going to do an EGR valve cleaning. Now on these Sprinter vans, the diesel Sprinter vans, BS30, 2019 and above, and the 2018 down, all have the same basic EGR principle. And EGR meaning exhaust gas recirculation valve. It's an emission standard. But what happens is that valve gets carboned up, and when it gets carboned up, it doesn't open and close like it's supposed to. One of the signs of that is a sputtering at light throttle in like 3rd or 4th gear. On our trip to New Hampshire, I experienced that. The first thing that I thought of right away was the EGR valve. Did some research. Sure enough, that's one of the signs and symptoms. I never got the check engine light when it's like actually not working at all, because as long as your foot is into it, it runs fine. But on those light throttle, lower speed, like 40 miles an hour, where the van is not really working, that EGR valve doesn't open and close like it's supposed to. So we are going to take it out and clean it. The biggest issue that you have to deal with is making sure the clamps are not in the way, and you got to rotate the oil filler neck out of the way. So basically you can see this clamp. I just took a pair of needle nose pliers and moved it this way so that you have access to this bolt. And I did the same on this side. I just squeezed that clamp and moved it toward the inside of the engine, and that gave me access to that one. The oil filter, or the oil fill housing, is connected to a bracket right here. So when you take this out, you can swing this out of the way, and that's going to give you access to the bolt that's right down there. And we're going to leave these coolant lines connected. All right, so let's get this oil filler neck swung out of the way. So this is an E10 socket, and that's what these bolts are. Screw that out, and then it just rotates right out of the way. Put this back in so you don't lose it. And we're going to take an extension and just take these loose. Now they should not be very tight. The torque spreading on these things are like 8 Newton meters. And so it's super loose. And just go around and just loosen each one of them right away. And then once you get them loose, we'll spin them out. We want to make sure that we take this electrical connection off. So this is a safety piece. Just take a pick or a flathead screwdriver. You can hear it pop. And then you're going to push down on that same tab and wiggle, and it's going to pop right out. So you just want to tuck that out of the way. You can see they're not, once I broke them loose, they spin out pretty easily. So, let's see. All right, super simple. All right, so this isn't going to come out right away. There's an embossment right here. It's kind of prominent. What you want to do is take a brass hammer or a soft hammer and just pull up on it and slightly tap. And eventually, like I said, it works its way up. And then it kind of rotates out, and you can see what that looks like. And it's supposed to snap cleanly back, and you can see how dirty it is. So we're gonna clean that up. So I just I have another gasket from E-ring that we'll put on, but it's certainly something for peace of mind, just so that when it seals, it seals. But the gasket doesn't do a whole lot. The gasket just protects the mounting surface because the EGR valve seals very tightly inside of that chamber. So what we need to clean it is some Scotch-Brite pad and some component cleaner. And then we'll put a piece of cardboard over top of everything so that as we spray stuff and clean it, none of that stuff falls down on the engine. All right, so we're just gonna spray some cleaner on here. And then we're going to take a Scotch-Brite pad and just kind of clean up. And what you want to do is make sure that you get into all these little grooves and open the valve up and make sure you get all those cleaning surfaces. Because the carbon can build up right here on this surface and keep this thing from closing like it's supposed to. So it should snap back just like that. So it is moving much better. That just takes a few seconds to do to clean it out. And we're just going to clean just the inside of the barrel real fast. Pop the gasket off. All right, so you can see that's nice and clean, and that's nice and clean, and we'll put the new gasket on and put it back together. So this again is the E-ring 261.171. I think it was $12 or something like that. So when it goes, it's got a little bit of a raised portion on it right here. You want that facing up. All right. And it's nice and clean, so it slides right back down in there. And then we'll just use the bolts to help snug it down. Like with anything that's aluminum, make sure you hand thread in everything first, because you do not want to strip one of these bolts out. So we're just going to take our extension and just even pressure on all of them and work our way back down so that it seats nice and evenly. And just let the bolts, with just hand tension, seat this valve back in place. Don't use an impact. Don't use a socket wrench. Just slowly turn it down until you can see that it's down all the way to the mating surface. And that way we know the valve is in nice and even. And we haven't put it in a bind or done anything that can otherwise damage it. And you can see I've just, through this whole process, I'm just walking it down by hand. All right, so now they're all tight by hand, and then we'll just do the same thing with the socket wrench to get it just the last little bit. All right, so we got them all tight, and we're just gonna do, it's 8 Newton meters. It is not a lot. All right, so we're going to get our harness connection back. So that goes right back like that. You hear the click. Make sure that you push in the safety tab. And then we're going to put our oil filter filler neck back. All right, and that should be that. All right, so that wasn't that bad. Super simple. The gasket, like I said, is about $12. You need an E10 socket to be able to do this, some component cleaner, and a Scotch-Brite pad. And you know, it's a really simple job to do that you can easily do yourself. And it's hot out here right now, so you might sweat a little bit. But hopefully you got something from that. I'm gonna take it for a test drive here in a little bit, and I'll let you know if everything's improved. All right, we put a couple hundred miles on the van after cleaning the EGR, and we have had no shuddering, no feeling like the van was gonna run out of fuel, none of it. So it fixed the issue. So we clearly, with all that carbon buildup, that pinwheel, if you will, was getting caught with the carbon buildup on the edges of that thing. So simple 15-minute fix, and we're back in business and running smooth. So very happy with how it went. Super easy to do. Like I said, you take that to the dealer and it's going to cost you quite a bit of money to do, when it's something you can do in your driveway in about half an hour with some basic hand tools. And I know people are going to say I needed to wear gloves, but if you've ever tried to use a 3M pad in a really tight space with sharp edges, you know that those gloves are going to get ripped on those things. So it's easier just to clean it and then wash your hands right afterwards, which is what I do. So hopefully you got something from the video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Share it with someone else who might own a Sprinter van and is willing to do some work on it. Leave a comment if you'd like. I get right back to you. And if you like what we're doing here, please consider subscribing. Appreciate it. Well, this is Dan from Rambling Ambition, and we'll see you on the next project.